Mr. Taylor. I am Mary Ann, the dietitian here at Raleigh Dietetics, and I received a referral from your primary care to discuss your blood glucose and maybe even provide you with some nutrition education to help with your diabetes. So if you could just tell me a little bit about yourself and what brings you here today.
Sure. So I am Jeremy Taylor, and this is my wife Jessica. And I'm here because about 18 months ago or so, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And right around that time, I made a lot of changes. Like, I started going to the gym like 4 times a week. Instead of eating fast food, I started packing a lunch. But I got so tired. It was really hard to keep up with. And here lately, I've really slid into a lot of my old habits. Like when I sit down to eat, I just kind of keep eating. Like, I eat a lot, and my job keeps me sitting all day. I'm a bank teller. And I really like eating out, like I don't want to have to not eat out, but I understand that maybe that just has to change. I don't know.
I hear you. No, thank you so much for sharing all that. I think it's it's all true. I mean, you get diagnosed with a pretty, intense diagnosis, and you want to make all the changes you can, and then it sounds like maybe you fell off the wagon just because it sounds like you made a lot of changes at once. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but I definitely hear you. I think definitely there's no need to compromise, what you enjoy with food. I mean, food's such a big part of our lives, culturally, socially, all that kind of stuff, and by no means would we want you to get rid of that. So I am happy to go through all this with you today. I guess I'm kind of curious, what was the point of you not doing those habits anymore? What were those feelings that came up?
I mean, I think it got to where I'd be like, oh, I need to go to the gym, but the part where I actually got up and did it just slowly went away. Like, I don't think I ever really liked it. I just don't want to, I feel like I know I should do it, but I just don't like it. I don't like sweating. Okay,
interesting. Yeah, so you didn't find maybe a exercise or form of working out that you enjoyed?
No.
Okay, yeah, I mean, that definitely, it might not last. If you don't like to do it, you're not going to do it. But I think definitely that's something to celebrate, that you actually went out and tried it and did it, because that's a huge feat. And then what about food? Tell me, like, how many times a week would you say you eat out? What does your general meals look like?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much eat lunch every day at the food court near where I work.
Okay.
I really like the Chinese place. They do these noodles with like chicken on top. I also really like Sbarro. Like, I probably eat pizza twice a week.
Okay.
And we mostly eat at home during the week, but like Saturday nights, we like to go out.
So date night.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Okay. So mostly lunches you eat out, weekends, dinners.
Like once or twice.
What does breakfast and dinner look like on a weekly basis? Generally?
Yeah. So on a work day, a lot of times I skip breakfast. I'm just so busy in the morning, I want to sleep as late as I can.
Yes.
And then, let's see, breakfast on the weekend.
Cook him some pancakes.
Okay.
I'm a big fan, chocolate chip pancakes.
Yum, yeah.
That's a lot of times on Saturdays too. We want like a big pancakes, bacon, like we want all the stuff.
Yeah,
definitely.
Totally.
Yeah. A big Saturday brunch.
Yeah. Big glass of orange juice, and I know that you're supposed to have real maple syrup, but I like the corn syrup, maple syrup.
Okay, I mean,
I don't want to give that up.
Oh yeah, no, definitely not. I think these are all great things to know, and thank you for sharing. This gives me a great idea of kind of, again, like, how can we help you to not have to get rid of those things. I think that's maybe a idea that society will tell you is you have to cut out this and cut out that. But here we say, no, that's not necessarily true. We want you to have a balance. We want you to kind of, help your diabetes, but also live your life. So that's important too.
That sounds great.
Yeah. So you mentioned a few things, something like having to do with your exercise, your general eating out, and then also like portion control. Out of those 3 things, what is one thing you think that is feasible and realistic to focus on the next few months or so?
Sorry, you said portion size.
Portion size, eating out, like food choices, and then physical activity, exercise.
I probably won't ever exercise again. I really hated it.
Okay, that's okay.
Maybe portion size.
Okay. Yes. So happy to go over that. I guess what are your concerns with it?
I think it's just when I start eating, I don't really stop because it's so good. I mean, and she's such a great cook, right? So, I get seconds of everything.
Okay, so it's more so like the taste, and you're just loving what you're eating. That
Yeah,
kind of-
well, and like, I don't really know what's a portion supposed to even be.
Definitely, yeah. I think that's a great question because when you go out to eat, I'm sure we get lots of food in our plates. Nowadays they say they're making our plates even larger in our homes, so then you're more likely to fill it. And so this is a great question. I'm happy that you brought up because we are kind of going to. I have this little resource for you right here. You're welcome to take this home, but it kind of gives you an overall idea of portions of each nutrient, so to speak, on your plate. But it's also kind of the have you ever heard like the hand portion control idea?
Oh yeah, but
yeah.
like once, I don't really remember.
Okay, so generally, if I'm not mistaken, your like fist or like your palm of your hand is about a cup. That's kind of more so like your proteins and your grains, and then that would be twice the size for your vegetables.
Okay.
It's kind of a good way to go about it. Do you have measuring cups at home?
Yes. we
Okay,
cook all the
so
time.
that's if something you want to use those, you're welcome to, or if it's just kind of like you're out to dinner, you got your hands with you, you can kind of visualize that there. What would you say in terms of your portions? Are there any foods more than others that you tend to eat more of on your plate?
Mashed potatoes.
Okay, mashed potatoes. It's a vegetable. There you go. Would you say that's kind of like your favorite form of vegetable, or?
No, I like vegetables okay.
Okay, good.
But the ones I really want are like mashed potatoes or like macaroni and cheese. Like I
Right.
think everybody likes those.
Totally, yeah. And they're very easy to get. You eat a lot of because they're really tasty.
Yeah, like once you start.
Yeah, you can't stop. Yeah. Okay, well, awesome. Well, I do kind of segueing into a resource I have for you over here. Could help potentially with portion control as well. This is kind of more visual and like how much is on your plate. This has to do with more so your diabetes and the choices that you're making in terms of carbs. So this is protein, grains, and vegetables. Not to say there's not carbs in there, but this is more so.
Where's the dessert portion?
That's a great question. It's not on here, and this is kind of not super inclusive.
Because she makes a great apple pie, and I don't want to give it up.
No, definitely not. I
Yeah.
don't think you have to give it up at all.
Yeah, usually we do eat dessert after each meal.
Okay.
That's sort of, we both grew up doing that.
Okay.
So it's like sort of tradition. So I think one thing we're concerned about is like, oh, is that something we're gonna have to stop?
Right. So you made a great point that it's not on this resource, but we have this little book I'm going to give to you on your way out, a copy of it.
Okay.
It pretty much has almost every food you could think of, maybe with the exception of like specific food items at restaurants. But it kind of gives you the idea of how many carbs are in certain items. So I calculated for you your carb choices. Are you familiar at all with that term?
No.
Okay, so it's something we offer diabetics to kind of give you a little more control and power over what you're eating, and also making sure your blood sugar is staying hopefully as steady as possible throughout the day. So I have you down for 18 to 22 a day.
Okay.
This translates to 18 to 22 carb choices, which is 15 grams per carb choice. So
is that like one fist or?
so that actually depends on the
Okay.
food. So this is a great resource that, let's say, for example, what is a food you're thinking of right now that you're wondering what the carb choice is going to be?
I mean, we did just say apple pie.
Okay, so that would be, so if I can show you this first. This is a great table of contents of, again, like all the food groups. And so that would probably be under sweets and desserts, page 49. And let's see. So here we go, we have pie. So it's saying a serving size for one carb choice is a sixth of a commercially prepared fruit pie, which is what you would have, or if you happen to have pumpkin, Thanksgiving coming up, that would be 1/8. So, if you were to make the pie and slice it into 6 pieces, that would be one serving size.
So like a big,
an 8-inch pie, yeah. So
Yeah, so
how big do you think your pan is? Do you have any idea?
I think it's usually a 9-inch.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Standard.
Pretty close, yeah, I'd say.
Yeah.
So if you're kind
Okay.
of getting those 6 pieces, that's pretty close too.
Can I
Okay.
still call it a 6, or should I maybe do a smaller piece?
So that is completely up to you. So with your carb choices, you have 18 to 22 a day, and we would disperse that throughout your day. So
Okay.
I had the idea of 4 to 5 at breakfast, 5 to 6 at lunch, 5 to 6 at dinner, and then 1 to 2 per snack, assuming you have 2 snacks per day.
Okay.
So you could count, if you had less than that 5 to 6 at dinner and you had some room for pie, that could be a carb choice. If you made it one of your snacks, that you had after dinner, it just kind of depends. And so it's, I'd say we want you to stay as consistent to this as possible, just for the sake of your blood sugar. I'm not sure if you're on insulin or medications. It just kind of is all tailored in together. And so if you kind of stick to this daily, it helps everything kind of work properly, so to speak.
So
Does that make sense to you?
I think so. So I can still have pancakes, but I can't have all my pancakes at breakfast and then just have protein for dinner. That's not good.
So it depends. So let's say, how many pancakes do you have in the morning?
Usually 3.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna see. Let's see then.
They're classic size.
Okay.
Like plate size.
Yeah. So here we go. So 1 pancake is a serving size. So if you were to have 3 in the morning, and that's 4 inches across, so that's probably this big. So if you're having some larger ones, you think?
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe half a pancake in your case. So let's just call it 1 pancake that you normally have is 2 carb choices.
Okay.
You're already at almost half of your breakfast. So if you had 3, you're probably teetering more towards 6. So it's not to say you can't have carbs the rest of the day. We, again, want you to have those carbs to keep things consistent.
Okay.
But maybe it's a matter of, have you ever heard of carb-free foods?
No.
Those are kind of a diabetic's get-out-of-jail-free card. They help you to stay full, and ideally they are, your cheeses, your proteins, lean sources, of course, even sandwich meats if you like those. And even just certain things like that, where if you had you maxed out, let's say, on your breakfast, you still could have those things if you're still hungry, to kind of have that little bit of a balance, because we don't want you to be starving yourself or anything that would not yield positive
That's
results.
really good to know. Thank
Yeah,
you.
of course. Any questions on lunch or dinner, or any foods you're concerned about?
I can still have my syrup?
Let's look at that. Syrup, let's see. Let's see if it's even in here. Sweets.
Sorry to quiz you on the book. I didn't mean to do that.
That's okay. This helps everybody. Let's see. So if it's not in sweets, that is something I would have to look up and get back to you on. So we have, here we go. Regular pancake type, 1 tablespoon. So maybe that could be something where we pull out the measuring cups, measuring spoons, if you were concerned about, again, exceeding that at breakfast. If you happen to, it's not the end of the world. Every day's going to be different. Again, it's in an ideal, perfect world, you keep that schedule every day, but life happens,
Yeah.
One day you're wanting more pancakes, one day you're wanting more other things. So again, that's kind of where the measuring spoons and cups and even your hands come in.
So do you think it's okay for, so you know how I skip breakfast some weekdays?
Okay.
Can I save those up and just use them at lunch and dinner?
Yes and no. Again, it's kind of a matter of, we want you to keep consistent with your carb intake throughout the day. We want you to be getting those number of carbs in per day, so maybe even dispersing, maybe not having it all at lunch and all at dinner, but if you have a snack between, or before lunch and between meals, just...
So you don't think I should skip breakfast?
Ideally, no. Tell me, what does that look like? Is it busy? You're just not hungry?
Yeah, I just don't have a very big appetite.
Okay. Is there anything that you have any interest in, the more light foods, or just not even wanting to put anything in your mouth?
I like sweet stuff in the morning.
Okay, like
Pop-Tarts,
Okay.
or like a Nutri-Grain.
okay. So definitely
Help me out. What do we eat?
Yeah, well, a lot of times he is grab on the go. And
Okay.
It's like a granola, Nature Valley, Nutri-Grain, typically
Okay.
the jelly-filled one.
Yeah.
Sometimes a Pop-Tart.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
if he's on the
definitely,
go.
that's awesome. I think we want you to be eating and then consuming those carbs again, even if it's a Pop-Tart or whatever it may be. If you're not hungry, don't force it. We don't want you to make yourself sick by any means. But again, it's just, if you can get those things in. Definitely, there's granola bars in here. If it doesn't label itself as Pop-Tart, you can again. Are you familiar with nutrition labels at all? Have you ever?
Kinda.
Those you?
I know that it says the calories and the
Okay.
serving
Yes.
size.
Yes.
But I don't know what all else is going on.
Okay, so there is a line for carbohydrates. So let's say there was 15 grams in one Pop-Tart. That would be your one carb choice. May involve a little bit of math, which is nobody's favorite. But again, if you can really, there's a lot of things in this book. So it's kind of last case scenario.